Greetings, Imhotep, Ankh Ujas and Ebneb, Tuaneta. Om, Namaste, Namaskar, How, Ola, Asante Sana, Jambo, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, and many other greetings. If I missed your greetings, arigato, konnichiwa, not konnichiwa, ni hao. But I just noticed ni hao is very similar to how. Anyway, many greetings. If I missed any greetings, please excuse me. Before the sake of time, I'm going to move forward and why I'm on here and talking with you guys today. So I'm coming on to kind of elaborate or explain in a little bit more insight or in-depth perspective of what I've been sharing recently and what I've been sharing the whole time, really. The whole point of why I've been on sharing things other than singing, which is tied into it also. But anyway, let's get to the point. I'm coming on to kind of give a little more insight or clarity on what I'm sharing and why I'm sharing it. And what it is what others around the world may know as Advaita or self-inquiry, and some may know as the journey of introspect, looking within. I'm sharing this because I've gone through some transitions in my life, quite a few. I can't even say life, I'd say lifetimes. But most recently, I've been noticing a lot of changes, not only in myself, but around me, in nature, and people, and what is said to be worlds that we are in, and even worlds that we imagine, worlds that we perceive, in said future, or even said past. So, in the midst of these changes, I felt that, the struggles that I went through, where I may have felt times, at certain times, I may have perceived myself as being lost and not really knowing which way to turn, and feeling kind of trapped in by the ideas and principles and propaganda and stories and events and all of these things that happen in the news and this side and that side and all of these things that are going on, feeling like you're trapped in like a little box or bubble of chaos, and not recognizing that you are not the chaos you're perceiving. You may succumb to what appears to be chaos, and you may begin to act out the chaos itself that you're observing. So that was something I was going through for moments, and I went through what people may call a dark night of the soul in some spiritual communities, or some spiritual insight. People may call it the dark night of the soul. Other people may call it a change in perspective of life. Some people may call it midlife crisis or things of that nature. But all of those words they're phenomenal. They're not permanent. They're subject to change from perspective to perspective. The point is, when you feel lost, there's always available to you the perspective of the observer, the one that's observing the feeling of being lost. When you are aware of your origin, you are always able to find your way, even when you believe you're lost. So long as you remember your origin, you are always able to find your way. You see, the first navigator only found their way by way of being aware of their current position. Remaining aware of your current position allows you to observe everything else around you and know, okay, I'm looking ahead of me and I don't see myself there, so I'm not there. I'm looking behind me and that's the place I've been, so I'm not there either. I'm looking to the left and the right of me. They're present right along with me, but they're not me because I'm looking at them. So I know where I am. And as long as I maintain focus on where I am, it's no problem to focus on all of these other points of reference. But as long as I remain aware of my point of reference, then I don't get caught up in what I'm looking at, what I'm observing. You see? A lot of times we're tricked into thinking that what we're observing is our experience, and it's not so. What we observe happens within our experience, but we're not aware of the entirety of our experience. We begin to believe that what we're perceiving, because we focused and drill in so much on it, we begin to believe that what we're perceiving is all there is. From moment to moment, what we focus on, we become so sucked into what we're focused on that we begin to believe that that's our reality. And it's not really so. Because the simple fact that we are able to perceive it is evidence that it's not our reality, because we're perceiving it. Our reality is the point from which we are perceiving. That's what the true reality is. The point from which you are perceiving. The location, the presence. Everything else happens within this presence. You see? And that is why you're able to perceive it, because it's happening within this presence that you and I are. However, the advancement of our ability is so advanced that we may have even forgotten how advanced it is, and we begin to believe that the product of our presence is actually our reality. But it's not so. Excuse the shaking and noise that they're loading the truck here. But again, as I said, we believe the product of our presence is our reality, but that's not so. The truth is, the product of our presence is just that, a product of it. We, the ones that are able to perceive what is of us, what happens within us as the conscious awareness, we begin to forget that we are the origin of this happenings, or these happenings. We begin to forget. And all it takes is to sit with your own silence long enough to let all of the noise dissipate and go back to the source of origin that you are, which is the still silence. But it's still a presence that you notice. Even in this still silence, you are present to know that there is stillness and silence. You see? And that's how you become aware of your true presence, which all other things happen within. But then once you become aware of this more and more, you realize this is a happening that's happening within my presence as conscious awareness, not actually me going through this. It's a happening I'm observing. But how can I observe this if I am this? These are things you ask yourself to show you the real truth. If I observe this, how can I be this? Like Mooji says, and one of his sayings, and probably came from other gurus he's probably gotten that story from, I'm not sure, but I resonate with it. He tells about a play of observation like a story or a contemplation, which involves a knife. And it goes like this. The knife can cut everything else, but the knife cannot cut itself. In that same manner, we as the perceiver are able to perceive everything else, every experience, every observation, no matter what type of form or expression it is, we still perceive it. However, we are not able to perceive our perceiving. We are not able to perceive our perceiving. I'm getting a little tongue-tied with that, but what I mean by that is the perceiver that is doing the perceiving cannot be seen. The perceiver cannot see itself. It can only see the act of perceiving and what it's perceiving, but it cannot see itself. You see? But it can see the point from which it's looking. It can see that. It can see that it is not what it's looking at. You see? Because if it's able to look at it, then it can't be it. Just like if the knife is able to cut it, then it can't be the knife. Because the knife can cut everything else but itself, because it's one. You see? But anyway, I wanted to try to explain that and also share that me sharing these things, oh, that's something on the screen. Me sharing these things with you is not in an effort for me to, I may ask for likes, I may ask for shares, and that's just to, spread it so it'd be known and get it spread out. I'm not necessarily looking for income from it. If that's something that people want to bless with or show support, that's great. I welcome it. But I'm not really looking for it because, as you can see, I already have occupations. I already have occupations. So it's not like I'm really hurting, but my intent is to share this for the benefit of those who are listening and observing and hearing what I'm sharing and really willing to take it in and really look for themselves. That's my intent. So I'm not really, this information, I'm not going to say it's information. This realization, this looking beyond the veil is not something that you can take and parlay into a type of income producing scenario. So in other words, this is not something you can pimp. This is not something you can fake. This is not something you can play with. This is the real truth of reality itself. This is the realization of the real truth of reality itself. And if you are willing to really look for yourself and not try to judge the speaker or the reciter of the words, or try to look upon it in a way where, how could I utilize this to make income from? That's not the point of all of this. If this is all you have and it is divine intent for you to benefit from it that way, then it will naturally occur on its own. But that is not the intent to have in going about this. When you are entering into this realization, you must drop all of those desires. You must drop all of the things that your mind and your ego has the usual habit of influencing you with. That's the best way I could put it. The mind and the ego, which is the voice in the mind that gets you to think about all of these things that are going through your head, these thoughts and all of these real, notices and this and that, all of this stuff that happens in your head. The ego is the one being the presenter, bringing it to you on the platter, so to speak, in your head. Hey, what about this? And what about that? And I remember such and such. I got a taste for some pizza. All of this stuff that happens in your head is just random stuff, and sometimes not random stuff. Things that you focus on and can't seem to let go of because it just keeps playing in your head and playing in your head and playing in your head. It's the ego that keeps pressing that play button. And after a while, you can, so to speak, ignore the ego or unplug the player, so to speak. And you begin to kind of like ignore all of these thoughts that go through your head. And it seems impossible until you realize that when you do the exercise of the self-inquiry or the invitation that Mooji does, in other exercises, I just, because I resonate with Mooji because the way he explained it helped me come to that realization quicker. So, but any guru that can help you with this Advaita and this, whatever you resonate with, however it is explained to you that you resonate with, the point is that you grasp this and you look for yourself to experience the experience itself and recognize that you are experiencing your true self as the experience. You see, to recognize this, you must quiet all of that noise in your mind that the ego brings and presents to you. You must also quiet the ego's impulses by ignoring ego's attempts to bring you all of this noise. And it's not easy. At first, it does seem daunting and challenging and almost impossible. But the more you begin to sit with your own silence and your quietness, your stillness, like I said in the other video, sometimes you can even notice your own breathing in and out. When you get to that point of silence, then you don't even notice the breathing in and out anymore. But recognize at that point, when you don't even notice the breathing in and out anymore, that you still exist and you're noticing that there's silence. The one that notices the silence is the real you. Not only is it silent, it notices silence. It notices silence happening within it, just like it can notice noise happening within it. But the key is to realize your point of origin or location in all of this. You are the noticer that notices activity or no activity, silence or no silence, stillness or no stillness. You are the one that notices. And with that, you can notice the activity of ego and the noise it can bring. The many thoughts that can happen in your head that used to seem uncontrollable, and still may be so, because you can't stop them from going through your mind. Whoever tried to stop a cloud from moving through the sky? You just watch it go. It will come and it will go. It will dissipate. But it's not you. You're not the cloud. You see? You're the watcher of it. Some say you're the sky that watches the clouds, but you even watched the sky itself. Because all of it, the clouds and the sky and the coming and going, happens within you. You are the space that all existence happens within. That is how vast you are, beyond comprehension, beyond fathom. You're the origin of measurement and locality, dimension, all the above. You're the origin of it. It happens within you. And once you come to recognition of this from within, not having to look outside of yourself, but to do it for your own self and go through the practice of self-inquiry for yourself, to see for yourself. When you do this, it is a direct connection. You don't have to rely on my words or Mooji's words or anyone else. They are there to help aid you, like signs that direct you on the correct path. These signs are posted. That is the presence, offering help with guidance through those who are Mooji and others, and those who are inspired by Mooji, those of us who have gotten in touch with this. Realize this true sense of presence and are attempting to share in very subtle ways. I'm not trying to go all out and, hey, you know, I'm teaching classes and all this. No. Slow down. Not so fast. Because you must come to a deeper effortlessness of this presence that you are before that even starts taking off like that. And it will naturally happen. You won't have to start up a class and all that stuff. It will naturally occur. If it is meant to be so. You may be like me or some others where it's only just one-on-one encounters or just by chance encounters with people. That's how it's always been for me. There was a time where, no, I'm not going to talk about that, but I want to keep this short because I'm 22 minutes in now. So I just wanted to go on to explain this a little more and try to give some insight that, you know, there's different content, but what's more important than the content is the intent of the sharer of the content. You see? So, not to knock anyone else. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just explaining why I'm sharing this. So that some who may be a little timid about it, or some who may be looking and kind of perplexed at this, they may get a better understanding and insight as to why this is being shared. Because I've been sharing this and people are like, you know, some people have told me like, why don't you ask for any likes or money or anything like that? And I was like, well, I never even thought of it. You know, that's why there's so many videos where I haven't even mentioned it. I didn't realize until they explained to me that, hey, you know, if you don't get a certain amount of likes, it doesn't reach a certain amount of people. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, now that you put it that way, I get it. So I will ask for likes and share so we can help it reach. But it's already reaching. Mooji and many others is already reaching out there. But, you know, if I can play a role in helping to, you know, share this, that's great. Like and subscribe, please, by all means, if that's the case. But my main intent is to help those who were like myself, who felt overwhelmed by chaos. That's the best way I could describe it. Not just the internal natural chaos that happens from day to day, but all the added chaos from the outside. Because, you know, some people may feel like, you know, like myself, I don't know if many of you have heard of the word empath, but some of us are more empathic than others. And we can pick up energies and feelings and emotions from others. We can pick this stuff up. So this helps with that greatly. And again, my intent is that above all things, you prosper as your soul prosper. But how can I wish for your soul to prosper if not to show you some type of way for your soul to prosper? This is the way I've come across. And the prosperity that I see is beyond comprehension. The peace that surpasses all understanding. You see, we're not trying to display ourselves as saints or any other title or name and form. We just are. And just isness is the same as you are. It's just maybe some of you are not aware of it. I wasn't aware of it. Not really. I was kind of aware of it, but then kind of concealed it because, you know, I tried to express it to people. In my young age back then, you know, folks were like, you know, those who weren't aware of it, I didn't understand that they weren't aware of it. And they're like, man, you talking crazy. So I kind of shut down because I'm like, well, dang, they don't get they don't see what I see. They're not experiencing the same thing I experience, and I can't explain it to them, so I might as well just keep it to myself. You see what I'm saying? And I know I'm not the only one like that who's experienced that. So that is why I share it, because I know there are many of you out there who are just like that. And I'm reaching out to you, and Mooji reaches out to you. Many sages, Maharishika, Devguru, Satguru, Christ, whether it is Yeshua or those of you called Jesus, and the teachings, the Medunetta. For those of you who don't know what Medunetta is, other people in other cultures call it hieroglyphic, which is some of our ancient ancestors' original text, which a lot of this that we're expressing has been mentioned in, but it's done in a very metaphorical way. So a lot of people didn't understand it, and they thought that they were worshiping gods, plural, where it was saying all of those so-called gods, plural, are all one as the consciousness, the same thing that we're saying, the same thing that the Bible is teaching, the same thing that all the texts are pointing to, as we said before. So with that being in mind, and you being aware of that now, as we go forward, there's another video I'm going to upload with a little bit more reading of the two books, one authored by Mooji and the other authored by Billy Carson. So I'm going to upload that soon. You know, be sure to check it out, like it, subscribe it if you wish, and share it if you can. Okay, so with that being said, you be well. I love you. Eternal. Until next time, we'll speak again.